Hello, hello, hello. Tonight, and we are discussing Tremors from 1990. With me, of course, on a girl, a guy, and a movie is my friend Janet from another planet.
Hello. Thank you for joining us.
How are you doing tonight, Janet?
I'm doing good. Excited.
Yeah, so am I. This is a great movie for a lot of reasons, and we're going to discuss a few of them at the very bare minimum. Before we start on that, I want to say thank you to all of our chatters that are in the chat. Know that there's a few people here that are very familiar faces. We have, after Janet, we have Mr. Grumpy Old Ninja Kentaro. Hello, sir. How to see you? Good to see you in here. One of our better mods. We've got, actually, we don't have bad mods, but we have mods and we have better mods, and he's one of our better mods. We have Six Nations, 31 Kings. Hello, sir. How are you tonight? Another one of our moderators, probably one of the guys like, I didn't want to have the wrench. And we have the Crafting Gamer, a very generous individual from a part of the country that absolutely believes to give is to better than to receive. Jackie Blue, lovely little lady. Hello, everyone. Jimmy the Cats and Flatey1. Hello, sirs. And got quite a few people here. Janet, 1990. Yes. Did you see this in the theaters?
Yes, I did see it in the theater.
So, what was your? I want to know your impression. This is a 32-year-old movie, so we're not going to try to pretend like, oh my God, for those of you that haven't seen it, we're not going to give away spoilers. No, spoil it. We're gonna talk everything about this movie.
Mm-hmm.
What was your impression about it?
I thought it was really good. I thought it was very funny, and I thought it was scary and creepy. It was everything I like about movies. So I thought it was really good. I thought the special effects were really good, too.
I thought the special effects were really amazing. They were so good that when they would discuss the smell of the creature, that became part of the character itself. And everybody, I think, remarked about it. I think everybody was talking about that in the cast of the film.
Mm-hmm.
And before we go further, director was Ron Underwood. We had Brent Maddock, S.S. Wilson, and Ron Underwood as well doing the writing for it. It stars our favorite man who's connected to everything, Mr. Kevin Bacon, the great and yet past Fred Ward,
mm-hmm.
Finn Carter, who has sadly retired out of acting, Michael Gross, who was America's dad for American Ties, or for Family Ties, and Reba McEntire. And then you have Melvin.
Kick-ass prepper.
Yeah, she was an amazing prepper. And you have Bobby Jacoby, who played Melvin Plug, the little shit that everybody hated.
He did good for his character. Yeah. So if his personality is really like that, I mean, maybe that's why he seems such a believable dweeb.
I want to put faith in him and say he's probably not like that. But when I got a chance to watch the real Will Wheaton years after The Next Generation had ceased, I'm like, oh, Will Wheaton's got this. Let's see what he's like. And he was exactly as I thought he would be like.
Yeah, disappointment.
Yeah, I just like there's an old rumor that Sam Kinison and the Outlaws of Comedy were walking through a hotel one night, and they had just performed a comedy show, just getting back after a few drinks, and they see some guy on television who's famous for ridiculing Elvis and butchering songs on live TV, and the four comedians shot the TV right there. And that's kind of how I felt at the moment when I was watching the internet, when I realized Wesley Crusher in real life, Will Wheaton, is just as much of a douchebag as his shitty character,
mm-hmm.
his shitty fucking director insert character from TNG. And that will always be a thorn in my side. That will be a pimple on the penis of America.
Yeah. But I was just there were so many things that snapped back in my head when I saw them on screen, and then other things that I didn't even realize until I watched it this time, like the fact that Kevin, his name in the movie was Valentine. So I thought that was pretty funny. Kevin Bacon's name is Valentine, which is I would never have picked that name for a guy that lives out in the boonies and does, you know, manual labor and stuff. So I thought that was kind of funny. I got a kick out of that when I watched it this time, when I realized what his first name was.
See, I thought the name fit the character pretty well, because you always got that one guy like Buford Pusser. You hear the name Buford Pusser, and if you have no idea of who that guy is, like, man, who would name their kid Buford Pusser? Ugh. But then you
their last name, you can't do anything about their last name because you're already married, whatever. But picking their first name, like if your last name's Chandelier and you name your daughter Krista, it's kind of stupid. You know what I mean? So I know I met a girl once whose last name was Lear, and her name was Krista Shanda Lear.
Oh my God.
That's pretty lame.
That's worse than any stripper name I've ever heard.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. But what I'm saying is that I don't know, if I'd written this script, I definitely wouldn't have picked the name Valentine for the guy's name.
You could, because you get some young girls that are put out with their husbands at Fort Bliss and El Paso, and they're just wanting a simple, idyllic life, and they want the good things, and so they get a little soldier comes out 9 months after the union, be it holy or not, and you know, you have an idea where she's like, we're going to call him Valentine, and the husband rolls his eyes, but he can't do shit. He's on a 26-mile ruck out in the middle of like somewhere not here.
Yeah.
And you know,
because they don't ask the husbands. They always ask the mother, you know, what do you want to name the child or whatever, the baby? And you're like, you pick some, and you're exhausted from labor, and you're missing oxygen cells to your brain, and then you pick the stupidest thing that pops in your head. So yeah, it's a curse for a lot of us kids, you know. So I thought that was funny, but I thought that Earl was a good name for Frank. Yeah. Isn't his name? Fred Ward. Fred. That was a good name for him.
For Earl Bassett, yeah. Fred Ward played Earl. I hear Fred more often in this movie than I hear Valentine. I had to think for a second that his name was Valentine, and I just
because when someone said Valentine, I was looking around on the screen trying to figure out who that was, because I didn't think it was what Kevin Bacon's name was. I was trying to remember what his name was, because I try not to look up anything until I get to watch it and refresh my memory. And I was like, what? Who named their kid Valentine? So I thought that's kind of funny.
Some lonely woman over at Fort Bliss, probably.
Or someone who's pissed off at their husband.
That too.
So, I don't know. That's the only thing I could think of. But I thought it was funny.
Yeah, and I like the names. I like the names of the characters in this movie. Even though the guy's name is Valentine McKee, I think that fits, because I've met some people from out west, and you know, the mother is the one that names a kid. Sometimes it's a strike at back against daddy, or who knows. He doesn't come off as a single parent raised guy. He comes off as a person that came from a nuclear family. Mom, dad probably had a dog, but I'm not here to discuss that. I'm here to discuss the events of the film itself, and I love it. I love this movie. Like, if you want to skip ahead 3 hours, yes, I love the film. I think
I did too.
Earl and Valentine have the best friend relationship on screen I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was way better friendship on this time I got to watch it than the first time I watched it, because I guess because I was young, I don't know, I just really didn't click about friendships like that, you know, two grown men being friends or whatever. But I just remember commenting when we were watching it, yesterday, I said they act like they're an old married couple because they argued about everything, every single thing they talked about. They didn't agree on it, which was wonderful because even though they argued about everything, they would do anything for each other, risk their own lives, and you could tell that it had very good chemistry between the two characters. So I wonder if they were friends really after this movie.
I don't think they were close.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they were close. I read the tributes to Fred Ward and the official Kevin Bacon Twitter. They came off as somebody that hadn't seen him in 32 years.
Oh, and really? That's really sad because they seemed like they were so, I mean, best buddies. I mean, really, really close friends in this movie. The people who picked the actors to play the characters, I think, did a really good job at picking characters that mended, went well together. Even the dorky girl that I'm supposed to be, the seismograph lady, I think she was really good for her part too. A believable character that stood out because you could tell she didn't really dress the same or act the same way as the rest of the people from the town.
I mean, she definitely was an outsider. I just feel like Kevin Bacon probably did his job, hung out with Fred Ward. They got a chance to stare at this night sky a few times, which is a direct reference to the tweet that he made when Fred died. And he's Fred and him discussed a lot of things under the night sky in New Mexico, but they were there out in the middle, basically camping on a set that they had built within 3 weeks. A lot of people got involved with that set creation. It was a very basic set. If you don't understand that, rewatch the movie.
But not really, because if you look at it as you're watching the movie, you can tell that they went through a lot of work to make sure the set, that when they were driving up to it and driving away, that it looked like it was really there, in the desert, like it set up, except, it had to have been up off the ground. So the way they did it with the sloping out, with it make it look straight and flat, that they were up off the ground because they had to have the creature shaking, everything underground and the smoke coming up as it went across the desert, all the different effects that they did. That's what I thought was so good about it. It was like when you saw the graboids come out when the water was coming out, when she broke the water main line from the water tower, and you saw them like snaking around the creepy tongue things, right? But they were all veiny and gruesome looking compared to what you saw before, because they were all dry and they had all the dust and the sand and everything on them, the debris from the desert. So the two different transformations of it, but knowing that you couldn't see them, like there wasn't like CGI, I don't think, was there back then?
Not CGI. It was
okay. So the fact they really had to make everything come up out of the ground and everything the way they did it, I just thought it was great. And to me, that was a lot of detail they went through, like when they pulled the car under, all the different things like that. It was done underground. So that is what I would love to see, how they were able to do that, because that to me was what made the movie so creepy, because you have to walk. Everyone has to walk somewhere. And the fact that you couldn't even get in your vehicle to be safe from these creatures made it even more scary. Sorry, I'm going to cough.
All right. I know some people there probably throwing me a little shade about the fact that I'm talking high about Earl and Valentine having the best on-screen romance in all of my years watching films. And Han and Chewie are good, yes, don't get me wrong, but theirs is a very I don't know, it feels much more like a fantasy superhero comic friendship than like Earl and Valentine. Earl and Valentine are written so well, and the actors perform like they have been friends since grade school. And there's very few ways that you could be insincere about that. Han and Chewie act like they've been friends for about 5 years. Now, you can become really close in 5 years. However, Earl and Val actually do the act to the T. That is the most believable part of this movie. Not the graboids, not the evolution of hotness that Rhonda Lebeck goes through, but the actual just friendship that is on screen from the moment one to the final reel of this movie. That is such a joy to watch. And I know there are people that are thinking I've lost the script, but I really love how this movie is. And it's primarily because of Earl and Val. The rest of the movie's great. The special effects are great. The ground effects, the ground splitting apart is awesome. The ending they ripped off completely from Quicksilver, which is another great but yet undiscovered Kevin Bacon movie that most of you have not seen, unless you were alive in 1985 watching USA Network on Sunday afternoons. Terry Garr, Kevin Bacon, and Rodriguez. One of the Rodriguez comedian guys is in it. But it's fine because they made this movie work on so many levels that this is a classic. And Quicksilver's fun to watch, but it's not a classic.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was their chemical reaction to each other, the way they played off each other seemed very natural. Like when he was talking about the girlfriend he used to have, oh, I broke my nail, you know, that kind of thing. And then he opens his little visor and he's got those pictures taped up there and little things like that. I just thought that they played well off each other. And then as they went through the town and found out the weird stuff, especially with the guy that was stuck up on the electrical lines, right? And the way that they talked to each other and like did the high fives, you know, every time they did something they thought was really good, that they had known each other for a very long time. And the fact that they lived out in the middle of nowhere, it made it even more believable because there really wasn't anything, you know, there really wasn't many places to go or hang out. So they had to spend a lot of time together, basically, especially since they were like handymen. You know, they you know, fixed septic tanks, they fixed roofs, you know, fencing, you know, all kinds of things. So I just thought it was really good.
The septic scene I got to talk about for just a second. Okay. Typically, if you've got a hole in your line like that, it's not going to really like blow out unless you've got it under pressure, forcing it out from a tank. When they're sucking it in, realistically, I'm just going to say from experience, if you've got a hole in your line like that, you're going to hear a sucking sound and you're going to see the hose moving really violently. And we call that, it's going to move the truck. It's going to make the truck shocks activate because you're going to see the back end bumping a little bit. But yeah. When that's going on, we know the reason why the line's jacking off is because there's a hole in the line. The only time you're going to have it explode violently out like what it was is if you're trying to blow it back into a reservoir from the truck itself. That and that's probably how they did that. But I'm just going to say that this is a fun movie. And yeah, I understand that this is a movie. Bruce, don't take it too seriously. These guys weren't really trying to be septic people. I get it. I just know from my own job. Let me say, let me show you what I can do. that is a fantastic way to show how willing these two guys are to try to make a living in perfection. And then kind of in the first act, they both decide we're done, we're out, we're gone, see ya. And
yeah, they were fed up.
Yeah, they were fed up with all the bullshit. They were even offered free meals and beer to do work for a lady, and instead they get out of Dodge. And I don't understand why would they leave? Just do the job first, then you can leave. You got all the free beer.
Wasn't her character named Nancy? Wasn't that Mindy's mom?
Yes, it was.
Okay. So yeah, they had it made because you know that the only mom on there basically that takes care of her little daughter knows how to make decent food. So they turned down good meals and beer. So they really must have hated where they were at. But as soon as they made that choice, that's when shit started happening, because that's when you saw the little farmer out there hoeing his little garden and watering it. I think it was little cabbages, it looked like. And then you heard the sheep all, you know, rustling and getting all nervous and acting really scared. And then you see the little puffs of steam or sand coming up out of the ground, you know, in little, you know, smoke pods from the dirt or whatever you want to call it. And then you see the sign move a little bit, just tilt over a little bit in his garden. And then all of a sudden he gets grabbed from underground and it's being pulled down into the ground. And then later, you don't know that it got the sheep. You just see the sheep freaking out. And that when they get there and they find all the sheep, like little pieces of them and, you know, blood and guts, and the fence is all dorked up and tore up. And then they see the guy's hat sitting on the ground. And they go over there saying they're looking around trying to find him. And that's when they lift up the hat and see that his, you know, his head is there, his face basically. So they ate the body and left the head sitting there. So when they drive off freaking out and they stop and talk to those two guys that were working on the it looked like they were working on electrical lines or phone lines or something. And the other guy was working on the, I guess they were working on the road, right?
Yeah, because he's working on a jackhammer.
Jackhammer, that's what it was. It's a jackhammer. And he's working on the road and he pulls up and he says, you guys need to look out. There's a psycho killer on the loose and he's chopping off people's heads or something like that. And I was laughing because the guys just looked at him like, oh, they're pulling our chain. And he went back to jackhammering and the other guy was like thinking about it for a minute. He went and got the crowbar, remember? Because he was thinking about, well, maybe I have to defend myself, because he was actually believing what they said. And that's when the creature comes and grabs that jackhammer from the guy, because it was going down in the ground, and takes off with it. And you can see it standing up and going through the concrete or the blacktop. And then his leg gets tangled up in the rope or the wires or whatever that go to the jackhammer, and that's how he gets dragged off. So yeah, it was and then it went into the side of the mountain, I guess, or the hill that the road was built in. So that whole scene was when you realize, wow, you know, this thing's gonna, you know, kill people. It's gonna kill everybody. It already ate a bunch of sheep and all that stuff. At that time, we didn't know that it was more than one creature. We just knew that something was under there because we hadn't seen anything. So you don't even get to see anything about the creature until they're trying to leave and he's doing the truck like that, trying to get it to pull out, and the back tires are spinning and they're arguing because of Earl's telling them, you're going to tear up the truck, blah, 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 you know, and they're all arguing about it. And then he finally gets it to go, I guess because he put it down in overdrive or something. It was able to pull it out. But when they got back to the town, to tell them that what they saw and everything, that's when they find that giant tongue-like gross thing that they end up calling graboids, is stuck to the you know, the
axle, tied around the housing to the brake shoe, it looked like.
And it was biting on it. You remember, it had its mouth on it because they had to take whatever it was, something and pry it off of there.
No, I like the biology of the graboid because it looks like it's a sock. So a puppeteer could easily shove his hand in there and close it whenever it's trying to bite on something. I think that's great.
Yeah, but the thing is, you didn't really get to see how gruesome and gross those things were until they got wet, because I was really impressed, because you saw it grabbing it and it kind of moving around, and it had that slimy stuff that looked like Karo syrup or something like that, you know, real gummy, gross stuff. And they had those little horn-like things like rattlesnakes kind of have on the end of their the horned rattlesnake has on their head. And then also moles, you know, star-nosed moles, they have those little feelers like things that come out from their face. So it kind of reminded me of that, but it was all the teeth that it had, with the curved teeth that went toward the back of their throat. So whatever they grabbed on and started pulling in, they wouldn't be able to get away. I mean, it was like a real good way to grab a hold of things. Like lampreys have that gross, nasty little hooky teeth in there, you know, that suck you in. So, but they didn't realize that that wasn't the creature, you know. It's not until later when they see one, they realize those things are like 3 tongue things that come out and grab things. So that was really, really good, the whole aspect. But what's funny is when the 2 guys, before they even have that happen, they're driving around and they see someone out a vehicle out in the desert, and that's when Earl says, "Oh, must be that new transport person who's coming in to do from the college or whatever to do studies." And then that's when Valentine or Val says, "It's a woman. It's supposed to be a woman this time." He goes, and he's talking about how good looking he wants her to be, good looking and blonde, and he wants her to have big boobs. And he goes, "And I want legs that go all the way up." Remember, he's so excited. And then he turns up and he's got this, you know, somebody that looks like this with, you know, a nerdish looking woman out there with these papers and stuff, and she's out there, and she introduced herself to him and stuff, and she's asking them questions about whether they felt any tremors or anything else going on. So he was crushed, you know. He's like, "Oh, you know, she's not what I was wanting, I was hoping for," because and that's when they argued about his other girlfriend, you know, being "Oh, I broke a nail," that type of woman. So I guess there's all kinds of women, because there's all kinds of men that want different things from women. So
I'm a victim of circumstance. I call it your pecker.
Yeah, most of them. And, you know, women have urges too. It's just funny that men always seem to talk about, you know, that they have one head's overriding the other one and stuff like that. But women do the same thing. We make
Well, I mean, men's problems is that, like, not only do you get like the urge, but if the pants are a little tight or a little snug, it makes itself apparent. And, you know, there's, you know, that little issue there that like, oh, your buddy's awake. Apparently he likes what he sees and smells, you know, and like you can give your guys shit like that, you know, that's just one of those things. And, with women, you know, women don't really like, unless they start like, you know, getting that heaving chest going, you don't really know if, like, you know, there's a problem down south. Now, the woman over there that, you know, she just saw like a 1976 Jan Michael Vincent walk through the door, you know, she's got herself a case of the flutters and the heavy breathing, you know. And down south there at the clam central, she's got a heartbeat going thump, 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 thump. Thump against.
Yeah, women have the same thing where we like we'll drop something or whatever, and the guy bends down to help us pick it up, and we bend down and we slowly come back up, and our eyes meet, and then your heart starts going, you know. It's the same thing. It's just we react a little different. Maybe we're a little more subtle, you know. But like, especially if it's a guy that we really like, or we think, wow, if I could hook up with this person, that'd be great. He'd be a great husband or whatever. You think about that stuff. And I guess the guys aren't thinking about, you know, future. They're just thinking about right now. Wham, bam, right, thank you, ma'am. You know, so
you can have the next 3 minutes of my life.
2 totally different things we're thinking about, but there's still chemical reactions going on, you know, in your body. So I just thought all that was adorable, and the chemical excitement between them two, especially as things start to progress, and he sees how smart she is and stuff, and he starts looking at her a little different than he thought at first when he first saw her, because the next time he sees her, she doesn't have the white, you know, zinc oxide on her nose and stuff like that. But it was just funny to me that I don't know, he slowly became infatuated with her because she was so smart, and he realized that, you know, hey, maybe a smart girl's not so bad. She's kind of pretty, you know. So I just thought that was really cute.
Kind of pretty. Gee, thanks, Janet.
Well, you know what I mean. Yeah, I mean, for Kevin Bacon's character, she was not anything like he even says later in the show. I'm working up to it. You know, he says she's not. Why would someone with a college degree want to have anything to do with me? So see, he was putting himself down because now he's confronted with somebody that's pretty and has brains, you know, and he didn't know how to deal with that. You know, he didn't know whether or not she would be receptive to him. And I just thought that whole cat and mouse type of thing was, you know, what made it a romantic horror comedy to me. I thought it was great.
It completely falls within romantic horror comedy, and it does all three parts of that in spades. It just knocks it completely out of the park. The saddest part of the movie for me happens in the first act as well, when they maybe it's the second act, but when they're back at the general store owned by Victor Wong, or Victor Wong's character. It's a shame he was so old in this film, but he plays Walter Chang, and the machine starts going off, and the radiator goes off, and everybody starts panicking because the damn things are moving around and causing hectic problems. And Victor's victim, one of the first victims in this movie of the actual cast. You have a bunch of other people that live in the town, but they're there mainly for depopulation purposes and to show you how silly things are.
Didn't that couple die before him? Well, see, to me, that was when I first got really emotionally invested in it, because you see this retired age couple, and they're building their own house. And, you know, they're real excited, and they're still romantic, you know, and they're sitting on the back of the car, and they're talking about stuff, and they're hugging each other and stuff. I just thought that was so sweet and romantic. Who doesn't want to have that in their future? And that's what I said. She struck gold, is what I said when the way they were talking to each other, because I'd forgotten that whole, you know, what happened for sure between the two of them. And then you see their house later, and you're knowing no one's going to live there, and, you know, stuff. It's very sad. But to watch her husband get taken down, and she's grabbing pieces of wood and everything, trying to stop it because she doesn't know what it is. And then when she realizes after he's gone that it's coming for her, and she runs and jumps in her car, the only place she felt like was safe, because her house wasn't even, you know, half built. You know, she couldn't go to that. So when she's in her car, and then you see the graboid things coming up to the window and stuff, she's freaking out, and she just saw her husband eaten, basically, and he's begging for her to help him, and she couldn't. There was nothing she could do. And then next thing you know, you hear the car shaking, making all that noise, and next thing you know, the car's underground. So to me, that whole thing was really sad, because you got to see a loving couple, and they both died, you know, and she died because she stayed to try to help him instead of trying to run or whatever, get in the car and drive off, or, you know, so that was sad.
Too sad about it. I know that sounds terrible, but watching Bisbee Beach get killed by the thing in the car, I just felt the entire time like, you need to be back on that space station figuring out Genesis.
I know you made that comment, but I made the same comment the first time I saw, well, not that same comment, but when I saw the little girl on the pogo stick, and they did a close up on her, I said, oh, that's the same little girl from Jurassic Park. You know, that her grandpa was the guy that started the whole thing. So, and everybody's like, what? And we looked it up, and it really was her. So that was her. She was what, 11 years old or something?
Yeah, in this movie, she was actually 10 when they filmed it. Yeah. She's such a good actress, and she's sadly out of it now, but she does other stuff, and she's making a good life for herself. She's got kids, you know, going to be a grandma here in another 10 years, but she's got everything going on you could want, you know, as a child actress. She lived the Hollywood life, probably saw some things she didn't want to, but she made her mark. And it was, 3 years apart from Jurassic Park, their Mages Museums. Fantastic run for a young kid.
She was in 2 really kick-ass movies, if you think about it. So, yeah, she was a good little actress.
Well, Kevin Bacon wasn't feeling it. Like, Kevin Bacon in 1990 thought this was like his swan song. He had just got married. He's expecting a kid, and he needs money for life, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the trivia here on IMDb, and it was not financially successful at first. Bacon is assured now his career's over, and he's going into his 30s, maybe 40s, and the following years are gonna refuse to acknowledge his contribution in this film's existence. It's all going to the dustbin. And then
Kevin Bacon married the girl from Goonies, right?
I think he did. Carrie Green. Yeah.
I asked you this one time before, and I forgot to look it up, but I thought that he married the girl from Goonies, because I just thought it was funny, because she wasn't like a knockout, gorgeous 10 or anything like that you would think someone like Kevin Bacon could get, you know, because I bet every girl in Hollywood was throwing herself at him. You know what I mean? So I just thought it was just interesting. So to me, I could tell. I thought, well, you know, that shows you Hollywood still marries. Some people still marry for love, not just because someone's a knockout.
It might have been Kara Sedgwick Bush. I don't know.
Yeah, Kara Sedgwick. What was she in?
She's in a bunch of things. She was on NBC.
Was she not in Goonies?
No, she wasn't in Goonies.
Oh, okay, well then I had her mixed up with that girl with the glasses in Goonies.
No, that's Martha Plimpton, I believe.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
Was in Singles with Matt Damon. No, not Matt Damon. Dylan. Matt Dillon. Oh, man, I'm so sorry, Mr. Dillon. I didn't mean to insult you like that.
I have zinc oxide on my nose so I don't get sunburned, like the girl on the movie. And believe me, it's itching right now.
And in a 2020 interview, Kevin Bacon says this: "When I was making Tremors, I was very depressed and at a low point in my life, and I kind of blame the movie Tremors for all of it. I was bitter against it, and I thought it was a career killer. I never watch my movies more than once. Some of my movies I've never even seen before and have no desire to. But yeah. I've watched Tremors a dozen times, and I love it so much. I've spent years trying to capture the same energy we had on the set of Tremors. It's one of my favorite films of all time."
That's what Kevin Bacon was saying about it later?
Yeah, that was in
as he matured a little. Yeah.
After he matured, because he was worried. You know, the first initial offering, the Tremors did not recoup everything it was supposed to. It was supposed to be, you know, a movie for everybody, and at the box office, it looked like nobody saw it. It might have made its budget back barely. I don't believe it did. I believe it didn't really hit until 1991, 92, when it was released on VHS and Beta. Yeah, I can remember Beta. You guys remember Beta? I had Beta. Parents still have a working Beta.
To me, when I saw it, it had an old creature feature type look to it. Even the trailer when it came out, that's what it seemed like. And I think we saw this. I'm trying to remember. I don't know if all my sisters went, but I just remember my mom knows how much I love scary movies and sci-fi and stuff like that. So that's when I got to go. But it was on Air Base, so it was like, you know, just a theater on Air Force Base, and yeah. So my mom went with me. I don't know why, but I guess she wanted to see it too. She laughed. I remember her laughing through it and stuff. So normally she would not ever watch a scary movie, but I guess she thought after she saw the trailer for it that it probably wasn't so bad. And she had a good time. But it was good. I enjoyed it.
Fair use. Fair use is a doctrine in the United States, a law that permits limited use of copyright material without first obtaining permission from copyright holder. It aims to balance interest in copyright holders with public interest in a wider distribution of creative works by allowing as a defense to copyright infringement claims against certain limited uses that might otherwise be considered infringement. I'm going to demonstrate this. We're going to watch this film, not the whole movie, but we're going to watch the trailer real quick. And to stream. What are we watching here? Okay. And this is from the 1990 trailer. Perfection. A scorched outpost in the middle of nowhere. I miss that voice. I don't know about any of you. That voice is solid golden silk wrapping around my cerebral cortex. I miss that man so much. God bless you, Mr. Don LaFontaine. Give you $45 for this. And I do like the part where they have to dicker with Mr. Wang about, $15 for the graboid sock.
For its tongue, yeah. You see, look how cool they were.
Yes.
They were very visually scary and creepy. See, that scene was very scary to me when they realized how strong those creatures were and it pulled that car under the ground. See, look at that. All that, every scene that we saw where the ground was moving like that and stuff, that was a set that had to be built up off the ground for them to be able to do that. And that, that right there, that's not that big a deal because that's something where they put an airbag under it and it moves along as it blows up to make the stuff move. But the scenes where the dirt is moving it has to be a built set.
Mm-hmm.
Where people can get underneath and cause different things like that to happen. So to me, that was a lot of effort they put into it.
And this right here is also the sign you've been friends with somebody for a while when you're doing rock, paper,
scissors. I loved it. I love that.
Also, one of my favorite directors in all of Hollywood is the exec producer of this film. I forgot to mention that at the start. Gail Ann Hurd, she was director for that wonderful movie we watched, the vampire film. It doesn't talk about them being vampires. But you remember what I'm talking about there, Janet, when we watched last year? Half the crew of aliens is in the movie. Once it's after dark or near dark.
Is it the one that had James Woods in it?
No. We watched this movie for this, and it was the young kid that got bit by a vampire, by the hot vampire girl, and then he was hanging out with the vampires, and they wanted him to kill, and he wouldn't kill. But
now I remember. Yeah, and they spent a lot of time in the van.
Yes.
Okay.
That's
I've seen so many vampire movies. It took me a few minutes to think about it, but yeah, okay. So she likes this genre then.
She loves this genre.
See, if I was rich, that's what I would put my money into.
I really hope, and this is a sad statement, but if you work a day in your life, you really fucked up. You're supposed to have a job you love. This woman here, I hope she loves being on the back end of movies because she does such a good job. Anything she's attached to seems to sing really well. Even the Hurt Locker did really good. And I mean, she's just fantastic. All right, I'll stop sharing.
No Frills Production. That was a cute name.
Yeah,
was on there. Yeah. That's what it reminded me of. It when I saw the trailer, it seemed like an old 1950s or 60s creature feature, type thing that you would see with like Godzilla,
yes.
Things like that. That's what it reminded me of. And that's why I told my mom, and I never really begged that much to get to go to the movies to see certain things, especially when I knew nobody else is interested in half the stuff that I liked. But so I was glad to get to go because my mom went with me. So that made it really good.
Catherine Bigelow. I thought Gail Ann Hurd was involved with Near Dark. Hold on. Because I could have sworn that's going to hurt me. Gail Ann Hurd. Near Dark.
But some of the scenes where you got to see her working, the girls out there. Let me see, what was her name again?
Yeah, you know what? The Major's Musings, you're right. Although it was produced by Gail Ann Hurd, Catherine Bigelow. Hold on.
But when she was out there, with the seismograph, watching the thing go around and stuff. So I printed me out one of the maps so that you could see the seismograph and showing where the one graboid was. And then so that they would realize that they had more than one, because she was trying to explain to them that during the time this happened, there was also seismic activity over there and over there. So there was at least 3 more that she knew of. So, and then the set they had to fix or build, I don't know how they did it, but I would like to see behind the scenes stuff when they chased it into the cement block, because they jumped over that ravine for when there is floods in the desert. And they couldn't get over all the way over, which I thought was funny, because that was very realistic, you know, because you see all these movies and the guys are running, you know, and they're going to jump or leap to another building rooftop or you know, to a big cavern, you know, a chasm in the ground and jumping over it. Well, they jumped, and you're thinking they're going to make it to the other side, because that's what they do in all the movies, and they both don't make it, and they're hanging on the edge trying to climb over. And then that creature slams into that cement wall, you know, the center block wall, and it busts through there, and you can see the rebarb and the other wires and stuff in there to reinforce it. And then it's hanging out, and it's like blood and gore coming out of it. So that was really good. That to me was a very intense scene. And then you get to see him kill one. So they know they can kill it, and they get to see one. They get to actually see what it is under there. And that's when she finds him, and she's talking to him about it. So that whole scene I thought was really, really good, leading up to when they actually got to see one of the creatures for full. Because remember, after when they were down there looking at it and stuff, Kevin Bacon got back up on the top and got a shovel and dug out to see how big it was. And that's when they saw how far it went to the end of it. And it was a, you know, really unique look at this creature that looked like some kind of, what it reminded me of was one of those, have you ever seen one of those things that catch ants and stuff? It's like a big ant type creature or worm thing. And they make these little holes in the ground, and you watch. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, I would catch bugs and put them in the hole to see the things, big pinchers come up and grab it and then pull it down inside there. So, you know, that's basically what it reminded me of, that creature. Now, I didn't ever see tongue things coming out of it, but the body of it and stuff with the little spikes that she looks at and says about how it has to probably uses those things to move so fast under the ground. So all that stuff made sense to me, because I was a huge, you know, geek, and I was into insects and, you know, nerd things, you know, comic books, sci-fi, creatures, you know, vampires, I was into all that stuff. So, you know, when you're a young kid and you get to see something like that and then see it come to life on screen, it's like really, really awesome. So I remember my mom even bought me, I think it was it VHS that came out, or Beta, the smaller VHS. Yeah, I think that's what my mom bought me. So, but I remember I just loved that movie. I thought it was really cool.
I'm sorry. I'm conversing with my chat and that over here. James Cameron was sexually involved with both Galen Hurd and Catherine Bigelow. Of the two, Catherine Bigelow is the one I would much rather look at all day if I had to.
Yeah.
She's the smoke show. Galen Hurd has always looked like a thin Liza Minnelli, which is not a benefit. But anyway. I thought that was a interesting thing. It was like, Galen Hurd's of all this, holy shit. Nope, Bruce, you're thinking of Catherine Bigelow. Damn it.
Well, it's all right. Yeah. It's all right. You found out. Now you know.
Yeah, I appreciate Smoke Show, Kronos. Smoke Show. Hot. She's hot. Yeah, and I when it comes to insects, I love insects. I love fucking with insects, because I worked for Terminix for about 3.5 years of my life, and that was pretty much a college course for like wake up, go into your college course every day for 3 years.
Because I remember when I first saw CSI Las Vegas, and the guy that was on there that liked all the bugs and the little insects and all that stuff, I just thought he was really cool, because I was like, I'd love to meet this guy, just because, you know, he knew so much about that kind of stuff, you know. I just thought it was interesting. So. But yeah, as each person's dying and they're trying to figure out how to get out, and then slowly, that's when they get up on the roof, and that's when Reba McEntire is looking through her binoculars, and she's like, something weird's going on over there, away from their compound that they had built, which had
with the worms, with these worms, they were originally wanting to do like an outer shell for the worm and then have like a slimy thing on the inside of it. And when the special effects guys started putting this all together, they had a couple entomologist phone calls. They're like, oh yeah, that'd be great. And then the rest of the crew starts to see what they're working on and like, oh God, we're fighting penises that travel through the dirt because look, they've got a sweater on. And that was when like, oh fuck, we can't use the outer shell. And then somebody's like, well, what about Scylla? You got the Scylla, the little hairy protrusions that come out that help propel them through the ground. And everybody's like, oh, that's a great idea. And that was what they went with. Yeah.
I'm glad they didn't put a shell on the outside of it because I think it was more believable with when she was looking at it and she was talking about the different things about the creature and how it was sensitive to sound. She figured all these things out. So I thought that was really, really good, and it made it more and more believable of them trying to figure out how they could kill it, and how it's getting where it's supposed to be going. And the fact that she knew right off the bat, because of the seismic activity, that there was 3 of them besides the one they killed, or was it just 3 of them total?
I think there was 4 total.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I thought she said 3, but
there's continuity error at one point, but yeah, there's just 4 altogether. It's just
but see, the sad thing is about the continuity. To me, it seemed like they did perfect with the continuity. So the person that's in charge to make sure they're watching, to making sure they're holding their cup in the same hand, they're wearing their hat the same way, all the different things that they were doing. Everything seemed really, really well done. So to me, the more I watched it and it was brought up, to me, that was editing. They had taken something and put it in place of something else and didn't realize that there was only supposed to be one graboid left or something like that at that time, when you could see the tracks for more than, what was it, 3? There was 3 tracks or something like that. Is that what the continuity part was? So, yes. So that to me is the only thing I could find wrong with the movie, was because, and that was editing. They had nothing to do with the actors or the director or anything. It wasn't an actual making of it. It was actually the editing part of it. But I loved, one of the things I really loved was the music, the dramatic music coming around when he found the dead man and he realized his dad, the music changes, just like the old episodes of like Star Trek and these old shows that used to be on TV that I remember watching when my mom would be watching these shows. It had that, that if you couldn't get excited or you couldn't clap or do anything because the music was like just lull, it had to be real dramatic and exciting to make you realize, oh, you got to get excited for this part. I just love that. I just think that's great. The quirky parts like that, for some reason, I just love that kind of stuff. I guess it's because it makes me feel like I'm a little kid again or something. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's why.
I also should add something here, that this movie, it beat the budget of $10 million. So it probably had like a $14 million or $4 million advert budget, but it made at box office $16.7 million. I'm trying to find how much exactly it made on the home release, but it was rumored that between 61 and 65 million was made on the home release market, Laserdisc, VHS, and Beta.
But you got to remember too about how much. Now I don't know how much it costs to go to most of the normal theaters, because on the Air Force Base it was like 50 cents.
Well, so, at the time in 1990, it cost me $2 to get in on matinees in 1990 to 1993 before I left for the Navy. The local theater we had in Lincoln. The regular shot time was like $5 for like a primetime movie, or if you went like the first opening movie of the day that wasn't matinee pricing at $2, it was $5. But this was a $2 movie, and this was easily like, I went back with friends of mine like 2 days later from Taekwondo class and was like, we got to see this movie. And they're like, who's it got in it? I'm like, Kevin Bacon. They're like, well, who's Kevin Bacon? I'm like, you didn't see Animal House? And, you know, I'm 15 at the time. So this is a great film. This is a movie that like you can watch. It was actually released and re-released, if I remember right, at least down where I'm at in Lincoln. They had a theater that they'd throw movies at over and over again. Like you'd see a film like a summer later over there at like a discount price. So this movie came back actually in 91 as well. So it was neat. You could go rent it out on beta for like 50 cents. And then you could go and see this film for like $2 at the cinema. And that was when I was able to go see it with some friends of mine from class. But man, that was a great film. This is like the epitome of what movies really should be, because some movies want to be hoity-toity, Oppenheimer, open your brain, here's how history happened, blah, blah, blah. Other movies are get the largest bucket of popcorn and the biggest drink you can have before your bladder screams at you in 2 hours and go enjoy yourself. This is that movie. This is that quality film. This is one of those movies that like I couldn't understand when I was in service. Like there were some people I knew you'd meet and like, how are you guys not seeing this? Every intercommunications tech I know or radioman that runs a VHS player for the ship, every one of these guys has seen this movie. And there were some engine men and bosun's mates that are like, what the fuck are you talking about? What the fuck is Tremors? I'm a sailor. Do you understand that? Like, I've had a job for the last 7 years. And I'm like, what? And then they play it that Friday night. And like, this is a movie I introduced probably 50 people to the Navy. That's a good feeling too, by the way. When you introduce somebody to one of your favorite films and instantly for them, it's a classic.
Yeah.
This is
I just remember when I got to go see it and we come home and nobody's, you know, I'm talking about it and how fun it was. And mom was laughing about how, you know, some of the funny scenes that she thought were funny, like the poop scene, you know, things like that. And she said, yeah, it had a lot of blood in it, but I just closed my eyes, you know, that's what my mom was talking about. But my sisters were like, you know, like it was nothing, you know, they didn't think anything of it. But then later when my mom bought it for me on the beta, and then dad was like, I want to watch it. So we said, and when my dad wants to watch a movie, everyone has to sit and watch, you know, we have to all be in it. And I was excited because I'd already seen it. I thought it was great. And mom was ready and she had made a bunch of popcorn for everybody. And I remember my sisters screaming and, you know, getting all into it. And then they were like, why didn't I get to see this at the movies? You know, that they were whining about it. And I said, well, you didn't want to go. So, you know, it's just nice. When other people actually take the time out and watch something and they go, wow, that really was good, you know, because they were like, you know, like me. When I heard about the Barbie movie, I said, just no freaking way. You can't pay me to go see it. Now, I don't regret not seeing it, but, you know, I don't get into that stuff.
The poor guy, Gene Siskel, gave this movie, he was a movie reviewer, for those who don't remember, Siskel and Ebert. He gave a movie the negative report, thumbs down. A little of it goes an awfully long way. There are just so many tricks, though, that you can do with the worms. And Tremors would make a cute short subject, but it does not sustain itself for an entire film. That was on the Sunday they reviewed it on television. However, in a rare change of heart of Gene Siskel, he later reevaluated the film 2 years later, saying, this picture has grown on me. I think it is worth a second viewing. There's a spirit of good fun there. And Tremors is one of the B movies that gets the formula right. I highly recommend it. And this completely is how I remember a lot of people I knew who did see the film that first year when 1990 rolled around. They're like, it was okay. Yeah, it was good. And then later they're buying it for their kids. Like, they got to see Tremors. That movie's got everything you want in it. And I'm like, okay, I need to see this movie. And it was just one of those things. I didn't see the first run in the theaters. I wasn't as blessed as you. So, I mean, that was a year later. But this is a fantastic movie. God damn it. And I'm so happy that everybody here in this chat right now, both yours and mine, have seen this movie in excess of 10 times. Maybe some of you have seen it a little less than 10 times, but over the course of your life, you get 48 like where I'm at, you will watch this movie like 10 times.
I've seen it about 8, I think like 8 times. So, but it was good. And I laughed this time too. I laughed at the scenes, but what's really good is if you wait at least a year to watch it again, little things just pop out that you go, oh, I don't remember that. Or, I don't remember seeing this last time. So that's one good thing about it, is that it to me, it aged well. I mean, for a really good movie that's got romance, scary, creepy. The technical stuff was really good, I thought, considering they didn't have all the special effects and stuff. The detail they went through to make the town look authentic, the characters to be believable, the little store. Okay, that's another thing. That reminded me of so many little towns that I remember traveling through, because, I had lots of relatives that lived in the boonies, and we went through lots of things in the desert. We went through lots of trips where we went to Mount Rushmore. We went through, to the Badlands. We just went to a lot of places, in lots of different states, in New Mexico, places like that. And it was just nice to see a quaint little store that you'd pull over to go to the bathroom and maybe get a cold pop or whatever, right? And that's what that store was. The little store with everything in it. And I just loved the way the shelves were set up, everything, because it just seemed like they built a shack basically, and they just started adding things, sell, and they put more and more in as they could sell things to the tourists that would go through, not stopping really there except to probably get gas and to get something to drink or go to the bathroom. But the fact that when she, what was her name again? The girl, the seismic girl?
Rhonda Lebeck.
Yeah, Rhonda. When Rhonda was running from the creature and she got tangled up in that fence, okay, in that barbed wire, and it got all tangled around her one leg, and she's trying to get loose, and the graboid's trying to grab her, and then she ends up getting even more tangled in it. She can't get loose, and then the creature's trying to grab her, and that's when Kevin Bacon's character runs over to help her, and he's like, take off your pants, whatever. So she starts undoing her pants as fast as she can, and she's pulling her pants down, and he's helping her rip her pants down before the graboid can get her down in there, and it pulls the piece of fencing and then the barbed wire and everything into its mouth, and then it pulls her pants and everything, and they run. So she goes in there, and she's got all the cuts on stuff on her legs, and you see Kevin Bacon putting antiseptic and bandages and stuff on it, and the whole time you see Fred Ward sitting there going, watching how he's to grow. And he said one day his life would change because he would meet somebody that was worth meeting and that something good could come from it. So I guess that's another thing that made me think it was cute that they had a good relationship as best friends, basically, because he wanted to see his best friend fall in love, and have, what everybody should have. So that whole thing was really cute that they stuck that in there. Little things like that they stuck in there to make it really, really enjoyable. And then the little Asian guy, what was his name? I'm sorry.
Mr. Wong.
Yeah, Mr. Wong comes over with some Ked tennis shoes and a pair of boots to put on her, and she has to roll them up like 3 or 4 times because they're so long. But she puts those on, and so she's got a new outfit basically for the next scene when they're trying to get up to the roof, because the graboids.
The rest of the movie, she has that outfit on.
Yeah. So the whole thing is when she falls, and she falls out the window, and we all freak out thinking, oh my gosh, she's going to get eaten because the thing was in the floor, right? Yep. And they look out off the roof and they see all the stuff from the shelf and the glass and stuff, but they don't see her. And she had, right next to the building, she had climbed up the ladder up to the water tower. So she was able to get away. And she's like, I'm okay. I'm over here or whatever. So you could see him go, oh, because he's happy because he likes her. He's starting to you could see he wants to protect her and stuff because and she does too with him, like when she breaks the water pipe to save him when he's stuck out there because that creature's following him trying to get to the big what was it called, a cat?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that whole scene, to me, that was like building for the audience, the relationship growing, because you can see that the little bit of that he's cute or whatever, because she was kind of let down when he drove off, like, you know, he saw, and then she realized she had the stuff on her nose, and she was like, oh, she says, I ruined my chance or whatever. But, you know, because she was immediately attracted to him, you know, from the beginning, but he wasn't interested in her at all because she did not look like anything he was interested in because she was a nerd, basically. So I thought the way that they built up the relationship seemed believable for me, even though it was in a short span of a movie time, and they'd never met before. So to me, I thought all that was really, really good.
I think I need to talk real quick about Victor Wong.
Okay.
He was a shop owner in this movie here. He's also Egg Shen in the greatest movie of all time, Big Trouble in Little China.
Mm-hmm.
And that man was married 4 times in life. And his son was a musician named Lion Wong. He died in 1986. And he was attacked by another young man while walking home in Sacramento. Victor was asked to film the prologue scene for Big Trouble in Little China like less than a week after Lion's Wake. And after shooting that scene, Victor suffered his first stroke.
Oh.
And afterwards, he befriended a woman named Dawn Rose. She was an artist in Locke, and they married in 1998. They purchased a former restaurant and store they completed in Walnut Grove, and they're going to open up a art gallery and tea house there in 2001.
Mm-hmm.
Sadly, they were trying desperately on September 11th, 2001. Spent the entire day trying to get news of Wong, what was going on to Wong's kids, who lived in New York City during the terror attacks. And they were pretty much unable to get word to them. And Victor spent the night pretty much up all night. His wife fell asleep. And he died of a heart attack at some point during the early hours of September 12th, 2001. I mentioned that because Kronos was mentioning he died terribly. And I was kind of curious, so I Wikipedia'd that. And holy cow, that's a terrible way to go. You know, worried about your kids. The kids were eventually found to be okay. But to hear, like, the day after the greatest tragedy of our generation, that your dad's dead because he was worried about you, that would just break your heart. So, I mean, this is a moment I'm kind of wish I'd researched this before, but we're talking about this movie, this great, great movie. And Victor Wong, you were such a good actor. Thank you so much for your contributions to my life's entertainment. And I'm a selfish bastard, but I really got to thank you for what you did on camera and for the things you did off camera that enriched your life. But man, I'm so sorry for you and your family. Didn't mean to kill the mood.
No, that's fine. But the thing is, I was thinking, you know, with 4 ex-wives or 3 ex-wives, that's kind of hard to really make any money. You know what I mean? Especially if you're having to pay each of them a monthly amount of money. Yeah. So he had to work a lot to be able to afford to pay for the 3 exes and the new one.
Well, after...
I mean, not trying to make light of it. I'm just saying, you know, it's just, you got to be busy in Hollywood to be able to afford all those ex-wives.
86, despite the heart attack, despite his first heart attack in 86, he did really well that year because you have not only the greatest movie of all time, but he also did The Golden Child, which he was a pretty...
Oh, I love that movie. That's a good one.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I really got to give it to that guy. He did so good. And my life has been enriched by his existence quite a few times. This movie, like, I don't know if this is lightning in a bottle. I think this is as close as you could get with the budget of $10 or $11 million.
Yeah. It's amazing to me if you think about it. Like when we watched the Gamers Darkness Rising, right? Mm-hmm. And seeing these young people with basically no money be able to throw together props and locations and costumes, even though it was a purple long johns. I'll never get over that. That was so good to be the purple ninja, right? Mm-hmm. They have to be creative when you don't have a lot of money. Okay, you have to think past. Oh, well, let's just put it in the computer and make up something. You know what I mean? So with models or the way they built everything up off the ground to put the graboids underneath, just everything that the detail they went into to make this movie, to me, is a blessing, because the movie turned out to be great, a great, creepy comedy horror is what it was, basically. But they did a good job because you didn't know where the creatures came from. Did they come from outer space? Did they come from evolution? Did somebody bring them there? Was they a scientific experiments done by the government? I mean, you had all these things in the back of your mind, but you didn't know what, and they really didn't talk about that. You know what I mean? They never really tell you anything about that. All you know is that they all lived, they fought, and they won. Well, a lot of them did die, but the heroes of the movie that actually made it through, and they killed all of them. And one of the heroes was a woman. See, and that's another thing that I hear today is, oh, women don't get good parts. Women are never prominent in movies. Women, nothing, blah, 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 constantly. But here, you and I have watched all these movies with lots of women in it. Kick-ass ninja woman kicking ass on the bus, fighting all those guys. It's just, there's tons of good characters with all different races and action and smarts and, just tons of things. And I don't understand where all this no diversity shit came from, because there's tons of it. In all the movies that we've done, there's tons of diversity in everything we've done, with everything we've reviewed. So I don't know. To go from this kind of great entertainment movie to what we have today, which is hardly anything, and it costs millions. It costs $200 million to make a movie that's shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's shocking to me the downward spiral Hollywood has been in, because they can't offer us anything that's good entertainment unless you step out of Hollywood and you start watching independent films, because the people without the huge budgets are the ones that are thinking outside the box and coming up with great ways to do their special effects. They're building their props and their sets and everything on a limited amount of money, so they have to use their creativity, which to me it makes it better. It makes movies better when they have to think outside the box. I just love it.
I thought this, like, I didn't even worry about what size the budget was when I first watched this movie. I was like 16 years old. I didn't really even notice or worry about that until later, much later in life. And there's a few parts of this movie where you can see the budget in action. Like, there's a lot of like good practical effects, little practical gags they use. I love the pogo stick scene myself. That's probably one of the best examples I've ever seen of what you can do with pneumatic work. And I'm still kind of in shock that, like, whenever they launched it, they had it to where it didn't hit any cast members or any, off-screen crew members. I was very happy about that, because I've been around where things don't go right on a set, and like there will be liquid accidents. You've seen that. And like, it's just one of those things with all the things that went on in this movie. Like, the worst that you see is on film, where the pressure up the hoses, and then the shit comes out the hose. That's not how it's supposed to work. Sorry.
Yeah, but when you were young, you were just thinking it was poop getting all over people. You weren't thinking about the whether it had suction or was being blown in, whatever. So you got to enjoy it in that manner. But one thing that really, really I was really impressed with was when you look around in the scene where they're all inside the sled, you know, being pulled behind the giant tractor bulldozer or whatever. Yeah. Okay. And all of them have guns. I mean, they got bombs, they got guns, they got all these weapons, and not one person was shot or injured by a gun on this set. And they had tons of guns in this movie. So there's another thing that shows you that the fact that the downward spiral of Hollywood is gotten to where nobody follows the direction anymore of the prop master or all the other people that are supposed to be in control of certain things, because somebody's a big name or whatever. They just go here, they just, you know, give me it right now, or whatever rude, horrible asshole you have to work with, you still say, hey, I'm the boss over this. I have to make sure, because it's going to be me that takes the fall. You know, nobody has balls anymore to stand up to some of these assholes that are on set. And it's nice to go back to when everyone followed the rules. The director, even though if the prop master or the person that's in charge of the weapons or knives or an explosion or, you know, the pyrotechnics or whatever, and they told the director, hey, don't go over there, don't do this, the director's going to listen. Okay. Because the director wants his movie to be a success. And he doesn't want anybody to die, because it doesn't sell tickets. You know what I mean? Yeah. So the fact that everyone's job has to be fulfilled to the degree to let them get their jobs done. And that's what I love about good movies. When you see a really good movie and you go back and you look at it, almost every single job was fulfilled by someone who cared about their job: editing, music, props, locations, hiring the casting, you know, all the different stuff went off because the person they hired to do the job was able to do their job. You know what I'm saying? And they fulfilled it. And that's why the movie all comes together. And when all the different aspects come together, the movie is good. It's a success. And just like when we said when we were watching Cutthroat Island, right? Everything about the movie was good. The actors, the sets, the costumes, everything, the music. The person that fucked up was the people that ran the production company, nothing to do with the sets or the movie or anything like that. It was all outside of any realm that any of these people had any control over. They had already screwed them over, and they were already $60 million in debt before they even got
in debt before the movie is shot.
I know. So that's the sad fact. But that movie was hurt simply because of advertising about it's the worst movie, loss of money in the Guinness Book of World Records. So who's going to chill out?
The summer's not technically over. And Indiana Jones right now has still very much outpaced that miserable Carol Code decision. So I'm going to get a chance to dance on the corpse of Mickey Mouse along with the rest of you, and we're all gonna have a jig whenever they finally let the numbers loose of how much money Indiana Jones lost. Unless Fandango comes out and pulls a Captain fucking Marvel, then we're gonna have actual true numbers. And I'm pretty certain that you cannot save Indiana Jones Part 5. I think the dial of dysentery has completely ran aground. This is the worst accident in maritime movie history. We've never seen a movie get sunk like this before. And I mean, that movie deserved so much better because of the property it's attached to, but poor Indy, he became part of the Disney crowd, and that's
well, the thing is that just proves my point that if you have a good editor, in charge, and then they have their people doing their job, and then you have the person that does the music, and then you have a person that makes sure the continuity is right, you know, and then you got a good prop master to make sure all the props are ready and working and doing what they're supposed to. Then you have the costume person, and you have the makeup, and you have all the different things going on. The stunt drivers, you know, all that stuff. And when you let the people you hired do their job, and you hired them because you thought they were good, because the director has final say in all the different stuff when it comes to that. And the pyrotechnics, the stunt people, I mean, all that, who the actors are, everything is all in the director's vision of what they want to happen and what they want to see. So when he's walking through while the construction's going on, putting the set together, he's like, well, what's this? What's that? Because they've already have storyboards. It's going to show them what they want to happen, right? And so he's wanting to make sure, if he's a good director, he's there to make sure that everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing. And then each day, the script supervisor will print out little scripts, you know, little side scripts for all of the actors and the other people involved, all the people that do props and everything, because everything's listed on this printout of what scene they're going to film that day. And then you have the second crew that's filming, you know, outtakes or desert scenes or different things like that to use for editing in where they need to fill in gaps, you know, like 2 seconds here or 1 second there, you know, little things, and they edit it out. That's, like I'm saying, that's probably what happened with the continuity part of the scene, where you see more graboids, trails, you know, the poofs of sand blowing up in the air where it wasn't supposed to be, because they needed to add something, and they did, but they added it in the wrong place using the wrong stuff when it should have been earlier in the movie, that type of thing. So that's why it's important to let all that. But for that one mistake to be is not enough for me to hate the movie. And most people probably didn't even notice it. You know, it's after you've seen it 5, 6, 7 times, that's when you're like, hey, I just noticed something, you know, like that. So, you know, I thought that was really good, but it really does make a difference when you have good people that you've hired to do different things. That's why I said it hurts a movie when you have everything set up for a set, and then you have the director say, oh, here's my my wife's sister's kids, put them in the scene. So you get stuck with having to change everything around to fit some more characters in that weren't supposed to be in it.
Yeah, I can agree. Got some people in the chat that are talking about the box office, and I just quickly went over. Dial Dysentery lost $100 million. Its box office gross so far is 320 million, according to some websites, 317.5 according to others. I don't know. I'm not the Jewish accountant over there at Disney demanding every copper be counted, but I am going to say that I believe that $100 million reported box office loss actually reports comes out to about $200 million lost because of the toy tie-ins that they lost money on, the financial losses from the direct DVD and Blu-ray sales. There's a bunch of money that's going to be lost on the back end merchandising because nobody will remember this movie. Nobody wants to have an old Indiana Jones action figure. I don't know a single person that's like, I gotta get geriatric Harrison Ford on my 3.5-inch action figure shelf. I must. It's an absolute. And then somebody else stated in chat, they were talking about there's only 3 movies. The part 4 didn't exist to me either, because at the time Shia LaBeouf had really ruined the Transformers franchise for me, because I didn't care about the human characters in the Transformers films. I still don't. In fact, I only watched the robot parts of Transformers movies. So if you have a bunch of human people in the movie, I just going to blow past it to the very last 10 minutes where they're slamming each other with big metal robots. That's it. I don't give a shit. I literally don't give a fuck about Shia LaBeouf. I tried watching a lot of his films, and I don't like watching his films. His antics on the internet are great when he's screaming, just do it. I love that, but I don't like him.
You didn't like Constantine? I thought he was really good in Constantine.
See, that's a movie you haven't seen because it's got him in it.
Oh, you need to look. I'm gonna have to pick that. I need somebody to pick that movie so we can watch it because Bruce doesn't realize what he's missed. That is a really good movie, and he did, and he did a good job in it. And I liked him. I thought he was funny in the Transformer movies. So, I mean, yeah, he's kind of gotten, you know, out there as he's gotten older, but that happens to a lot of the people.
I'm okay with people getting out there. You know, I'd rather him have.
No, I mean, way out there.
I like his internet antics versus Will Wheaton's internet antics. I would much rather drink a beer with Shia LaBeouf than have to even pass on a sidewalk Will Wheaton. Because if I had to, I'd be wearing a Trump MAGA hat and I'd be wearing a T-shirt and I'd be waiting for the violence because you know that little shit would think like, you know, he could do something.
Yeah.
Let's
but,
do it.
You know, that's just something you deal with as people, especially if they're young. A lot of them that are young, it seems like they grow up and they kind of get, you know, I'm not talking about little kids. Most of the little kid actors that I've met in person, once they were grown up, they weren't such little snots because especially when they had good mothers or fathers that were there on the set and, you know, kept them, you know, kept them as childlike as they could, let them be kids, but they were good actors or whatever. But it's the teenagers that get into it when they're a teenager, and then now they're in their 20s or 30s, and they're like, you know, stuck up little snots or whatever. Those are the ones I don't like. So it just depends. There's a lot of them, and you know, you have a lot of. I mean, I've met Robert De Niro, and he was super nice. You know, I don't like his politics choices, but to me, he was cordial to everyone that I saw him interact with. So it just depends on the character of the person. You know,
I agree with that.
Either an asshole or not.
We've got some people that are defending Shia LaBeouf and Constantine in the chat. Which
I think you will be really surprised. I honestly do. I really think you will say, "Holy shit, he can actually be a decent character in a movie." If you can put aside how much you hate him and then watch the movie with, you know, an open mind, I really think that
okay,
you would like it. And if your wife hasn't seen it, you should get her to watch it too, because I think she would like it.
Well, we will see.
Because it's a good movie.
Yeah, Kronos. I think Janet, Mr. Calling as a diplomat, she'd go pretty good with that role, don't you think?
Well, unless you're trying to get me to watch that. What was it? Willie's Roadhouse?
You want to watch Willie's Roadhouse with me? We'll watch it.
Oh my God! It was almost like pulling teeth just to watch it. Where I finally just said, "This is the worst movie I've ever seen. I have to turn it off." I could not. I just couldn't sit and watch it.
Like, you know, Janet, you know that movie like completely sucks. Okay, like there's parts of Willy's Wonderland, like
Wonderland. That's what it's called.
In Banana Splits, when they showcase the restaurant. The restaurant looks like a restaurant. Like you've got a kids area over here, and in the kids area, you've got multiple things. You got games, ball pits, you got arcade stuffs, and all that crap. In Willy's Wonderland, all of it's set in one big room. It's like one giant absence of like money for a set and money for props. The only prop money they spent was prop money that was going to be in Nicolas Cage's hands as he killed every single animatronic thing or person in that movie. That's the only part of that movie that shines is the physical effects, the squibs, the blood. They don't even let Nicolas Cage speak. I don't want to have to speak in this movie. Just give me a nice car to drive at the start of it and end of it. And let me wear my sunglasses because sunglasses is cool, right? All this money is going to my favorite charity. That's my mortgage. So I don't lose my house. I love my house. And I think, you know, Willy's Wonderland, if I'm not saying Shia LaBeouf is the world's worst actor. He's just one that I think I blame him for the start of all the bad cinema that happened after 2006 or so, because like I've watched some of his other movies and I just couldn't get into it. I was in the theater for Eagle Eye and I fell asleep during that movie. And my friends were with me, and they kept looking over. Bruce is asleep. Bruce is asleep. Yeah, I worked really hard that week, but that movie sucked. it was like a Hollywood wet dream. Like, we're gonna make fun of right wingers. We're gonna have a computer that talks like a constitutionalist and piss on them. Just boring, completely boring, guys. But I'll give Constantine a chance. It is a Keanu Reeves movie, and it is based off of a DC property that did not.
And we can watch it in October, right? Because it's a scary movie. It's good for October. I love the guy that plays the devil. Oh, it's so good. I'm excited about it now that you brought that up. And it's a movie you haven't seen. Oh, I'm even more excited. It's so stupid, but I can't help it. Yeah, I think you should watch it. I really would like to put that on there, if you don't mind, for us to watch it, because it really is a good movie. It's got really good action. It's just got a lot in it. It's really good. Do you guys all agree that you guys want to watch it in October? You guys can join us in Discord and watch it, and then we'll review it the next night. So I'm excited. It's good. And Bruce hasn't seen it. See, we don't get that very often.
All right. And it has.
Yeah, the guy that played Lucifer. Yeah, he was good. Trying to read some of the chat. I haven't seen Fury, so I'm gonna have to see that movie one day. Because that's a movie I haven't seen.
Fury is. It probably is the best tank film on film. Chat, let me know if there's a better movie that has tank combat in it. I think out of all the tank movies I've seen, Fury is probably got the best, most realistic tank depiction. Although the Sherman should have gone up a little bit sooner, but that's okay. That's fine. But I would say that if you guys disagree with me, that's okay.
Bush said Kelly's Heroes.
I don't think it has a better tank scene in it, but
I haven't seen it, so I can't comment on whether this tank scene was good. There was a movie that I thought was really good with tanks in it, and it had Brad Pitt in it, but I don't remember.
That's Fury.
That's what? That's Fury?
That's Fury.
Well, maybe I did see it. I just don't remember that much about it. I just remember Brad Pitt in a tank. So I don't know. Or maybe I just saw a preview or a mini video or something about it. Yeah, I'll have to wait and watch it so I can see if I remember it or not. Yeah, my mom used to watch a show called Hogan's Heroes. I don't know if there was a movie made called Hogan's Heroes, but my mom used to like a TV series called Hogan's Heroes. She thought it was really funny. So she watched lots of reruns. And I got to watch a few reruns because I thought the chubby guard, I thought he was funny. He reminded me of the captain of the SS Minnow reruns of that guy. I don't think they were the same actor, but
I love Mr. Denver.
Who?
Mr. Denver, the guy that was on Gilligan's Island.
Oh, Bob Denver. Yeah, that was Gilligan. I'm talking about the skipper guy. The chubby guy that was in Hogan's Heroes. That's who he reminded me of.
I thought you were talking about Denver or the fat captain. I thought, my bad. I got my actors mixed up.
The skipper, I don't know who he was. I don't remember his name, but Bob Denver was, in other stuff besides just Gilligan's Island. And my mom talked about him a lot, said he was really talented, and she was talking about different things that he did. But it was the guy that played the skipper that had to deal with Gilligan, because they had a really good best friend, vibe that went between the two of them that made it funny and made it believable, even though they were, on a two-hour tour or something like that. But my mom laughed, and she loved all those shows. She liked Hee Haw and lots of comedies, and she loved the Carol Burnett show. I just remember lots of that kind of stuff. and watching some of it with my mom because she just loved to laugh at stuff. So I think that's one reason why when she went with me to see this movie and to see her laughing out loud, I went and saw Major Pain with my mom. Remember, we reviewed that one, and my mom, we went 3 times in 1 week while we were on a vacation to see Major Pain at the, the cheap theater. Was like $2 or something. And she laughed and laughed. She just loved it. So my mom was just a lot of fun. I had a good mom. Oh, Bob Hale Jr. Okay. The skipper. Okay. Thank you for telling us that. Boosh. Yeah. Appreciate it.
Now, next week, hold up. This is the 4th of September, so we're talking about the 11th of September. Mm-hmm. We don't have a movie set up for next week. And Janet just picked Constantine, so I'm going to actually edit that, and we will watch that for next week.
Oh, okay. Great. That sounds good to me. I'm excited. That's a good movie. It really is. It's very good, but it's right up my genre, because I love everything, scary in horror, thrillers, that kind of stuff. So it's good. And I love Keanu Reeves too. I think he's great. I've loved him in almost every single thing I've seen him in, but I haven't seen all of his movies. So
we got some. Okay, everybody we got that squared away. Alan Hale, not Bob Hale. Our bad. Yeah. Bob Denver was Gilligan.
Oh, Alan Hale. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that with us.
You don't have yourself a handy dandy, nice and shiny Hungar Starvarian T-shirt. The money goes to a good cause. This gentleman here that is in our chat, he's not pocketing $1 of this. All this is funneling into his Wounded Warrior Project money. So go ahead and check out this link here. It's a fantastic organization, and Hungar is a gentleman of a soul, brother to James, the Dungeon Master. Yeah, so we'll be watching Constantine next week, I guess. I've not seen this. This will be an interesting thing for me.
Yeah, I'm excited to get to...
Yeah, Kronos, I don't know if you can see the chat from my side, but StreamYard lets me see everybody from all inputs, and so I get to see everything. And Hungar says, new shirt on his page. Hold up. Hold on, Hungar. I'll check this out with everybody. Janet, what was your thoughts when they started making sequels to?
Well, I haven't seen any of them. Remember, we were talking about that. You guys were saying, in 6 they did this and that, and they did this, and I was like, what? Yeah. I had no idea they'd made any more of these movies.
There's enough for us to sit for 12 hours and watch nothing but Tremors sequels.
Well, if they're good, if you guys think they're good, then we can just pick one each month and watch one to get caught up on it. But no, I haven't seen any of them, so they'll all be new movies for me to watch.
Straight Pride. Remember, can't hear fart in space.
But I'm not in space. At least not right now.
This is the No Ham T-shirt. This is the dig at his brother. That's funny. Mm-hmm. That's absolutely great. Also, they're doing a price increase in 4 hours. In almost 5 hours, they're going to have everything go up. So they got $16 tees. It'll go up to $22 here in a bit. But if you like T Public, if you like Hungar, he's got some revisions to his Afro T-shirt.
I can't believe he really had his hair look like that.
Oh, that's a high school photo right there.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I have this T-shirt.
Yeah, I've seen that one. Did you get that one too? The one with the little girl on it?
That one there?
Yes. No, the other one with the guys behind her.
No, I did not get this one yet. This is on the list.
Yeah, but the thing is, that seems like it'd be a dangerous shirt to wear. You know, after what we went through a couple of nights live with our certain special guests that kept showing up.
Yeah, the herpes.
If you wore that shirt on a show, it would trigger that person.
Yeah, it would. That person would go absolutely batshit insane.
And see, that's one reason why I don't think it's safe for you to let people know where you live either.
I'm good. This city's got murders and crime all the time in it. One more.
I know, that makes it even worse. So I don't know. I'm just, you know, I get nervous.
I know. I'm just an irritated man. Here, kids, here's my address. Come by, see me. I need to test to fire this gun, so you'll be the perfect target. Yeah. Oh. I love this right here. This is great.
Yeah, I remember that from Dune.
No. That's Pepe.
No, I know, but the scene. I'm talking about the scene. Oh, yeah. That's from Dune, right?
Yes, it's from Dune.
The big creature that they had in there. I know. It's hilarious.
They're mopping up the mess. It's great.
I know. It's awesome. That's a good one right there. Who does he get to do his artwork and stuff for him?
He's in the chat.
So I wonder who he gets to do, because they do a great job. Yes, does he come up with the ideas and then he gets someone to do it for him?
I don't know. I think he probably does it all himself. Do you recognize this, Janet?
Yeah, they're the Lost Boys.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah, for a second I knew who that was in the first one, but the second one I looked at it for a minute because I didn't know if it was the girl from the movie or the vampire. But now I recognize him.
Yep.
Death by stereo. Wasn't that him?
Yes.
Who died by death by stereo?
I think it was this kid.
Yeah, I think it was.
He got staked when he was hanging upside down. That was good.
Yeah, that's right. He got staked. But that's a great shirt. I might have to order that one. Can you send me the link?
Yeah.
To the Lost Boys one.
Sure. Hold up.
Send it to me in my Discord. I'd appreciate it. Yeah, that one's great. He's always got some really good stuff. That's why I'm wanting to know who does it for him.
All right. So.
Yeah, thanks. That'd be a cool shirt to wear. I wonder how many people would actually know who's on my shirt if I wear that.
That'd be one you have to wear out in public. You can't just like wear that around the house. You actually have to go out in public.
I would wear it in public. I'd wear it out somewhere. See if anybody noticed what it was.
One thing about living in Santa Clara I never could stomach. All the damn vampires.
Damn vampires. Yeah. That's a good movie too.
Yeah. Have you nominated a movie for October yet?
Well, I did, but you took it away. So now I'll have to go for another one. I got to look at your list of what movies you've got already. I know Waxworks is one.
Yeah.
And what's another one?
Goonies.
Goonies.
That's John's.
I thought that was, it is in October. Okay, I'm trying to think. I'd have to think about it. I want something really good.
We got 5 Mondays in October.
Okay.
So that's like
I'll send you a list of good good scary stuff that I like.
All right.
And then you can throw in some.
I'll nominate one. You can nominate two, because unless our guests nominate movies with money behind it, that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
The Constitution, like, you literally, like, fine, I will see this. I usually stay strong, brothers, you know, but got a Janet dressed up like Rhonda LeBeck tonight, and one of my more favorite fun movies. It's like completely like throw this movie on. Throw this movie on whenever you. We'll explain that, Bush.
Well, it was either this girl or Reba McEntire's character. Those are the only two really, or the mom. But I'm not a blonde. But I could have wore a wig for that, I guess. But I like this one because I thought she was fun.
I was kind of rooting for you to dress up like Reba, but that's just that'd be a double whammy. That would cause probably 400 views by the end of the month on there.
It's like you're sitting here holding an elephant gun.
Yeah, I would. Yesterday was a high testosterone day for Brucey.
I know you loved it when she was whipping out those weapons and stuff. I just thought it was great.
Firepower, good God, how can you not love that?
Yeah, with all the people had guns, everybody, even the dumb kid. He didn't know it didn't have bullets in it until he went to shoot it.
Do you remember Rick Taylor? Felix's mom keeps asking that. The reason why we're watching The Goonies in October is because we're going to be doing a super chat with a friend of ours, or super showing with a friend of ours on that weekend. He's available. So that's why we're doing it in October. That's why Goonies is eating one of the 5 Mondays. I'm okay with that. The dude had dropped like almost like $100 himself just for like, dude, you go ahead, pick movies. You know, I was willing to like.
He likes our show.
Yeah, he likes the show, and I was like willing to just like. I was thinking I should probably just let him have like 4 weeks because he bought a lot of damn super chats. And I know that sounds stupid, or that sounds like, you know, but if you're doing that, hey, appreciate it. You know, here, what are your suggestions? And the only thing we're really staying away from is things we've already watched before, because we've only got like 60 shows under our belt or less. So 60 movies we've already discussed. And I don't really want to. There's few movies that I would watch again for purposes of this. Anything with John Carpenter that we've already watched, I'll watch again, because those are either The Thing or Big Trouble in Little China. You tell me, Bruce, we're going to watch these 2 movies again for a show. I'm going to pony up to it. No problem. That's good. And
yeah, but there's so many movies we haven't seen or haven't done reviews on. So there's plenty of movies to choose from. That's what I told him. I said, go through and see if we've done the movie you're looking for. And if we haven't, then if you really want to see it, then that's one you pick. And he chose Goonies. So, and Goonies is a great movie. I'm excited about watching it again.
I'm not throwing away movies, lady. I'm not throwing away movies. Mages is saying Prince of Darkness.
Or what about like Abraham Lincoln, the Vampire Hunter? Or
I actually saw that in the theaters. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I saw that. Okay. But then there was there's just so many of them. I can't even pick them all out. Alien. Yeah, there's so tons of really good movies that we could pick that are horror, but could be sci-fi too. So I'd have to look at movies.
I was thinking for my pick, it would be something with Hammer and Peter Cushing. I was thinking about doing something with those two because I really like Peter. The more I read about Peter Cushing, the more I realize I'm turning into Peter Cushing. Peter Cushing, I'm not as good of an actor as he is ever, nor ever will be. But that man was really into geek culture in a time when nobody recognized geek culture. Geek culture was a niche. And when I say it's a niche, I mean, like back before 74, there might have been just a few hundred people across the world that would have gone to the Origins convention for gaming. And mainly those were guys that were into Napoleonic war games. Peter Cushing painted figurines like this, like what I got on this desk.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, like, that was one of his hobbies. He loved miniatures. He loved miniatures more than fucking Rick Baker loved miniatures. And that was his thing. So I'm thinking about doing in October for my pick. I got to pick something that Peter Cushing did, because he's just kind of turned into one of these late term, one of my heroes in life. He really is. And the more I read about him, the more I realize he was a good fella. He was a nice guy. Mage's Musing says, fun fact, Peter Cushing's boots as Tarkin in Star Wars were too small. So for the up close shots, when they were photographing him from the thighs up, he's wearing slippers on set. Hey, Justin Thor. And yeah, he's a good friend of Christopher Lee. Both of them were in the Star Wars franchise. But it was really impressive. The more there are some actors out there, there's some people that you read about that are long gone, but the more you read about them, the more you realize, man, they lived a great life. And yeah, Peter Cushing was into wargaming when Games Designers Workshop was still swimming in their dad's nutsack. It was amazing to read about this guy. And yeah, I that's going to be one of his movies is going to be my pick for October.
I love the movie. Fright Night was really good. Love that movie.
Without any input from you guys, like if we didn't have the option for inputs, there would be enough good, scary, horror themed movies to fill Octobers for the next 20 years between me and Janet. Me and her easily could pick 80 films that are individually different.
I mean, I just, when you mention different things or whatever, or someone says something in the chat, it makes me think of another movie that I remember watching as a kid, or at the theater when I was older, that I really liked, that was scary, that I just love scary movies. I really do. And, it's a little downer if you watch a movie and you hyped it up and then you go to watch it and you're like, oh, it wasn't as scary as I thought. So.
Yeah, I you know what I'm saying, Boosh. Niche. See. Yeah, he's also a big friend of Christopher Lee's. God, the guy was just freaking amazing. Get my file when ready. And it's funny. This is
yeah, like Vincent Price. Vincent Price movies were really good too. So, there's a lot of stuff out there for us to, catalog to go through for good ones.
I think there was a newer Fright Night movie that came out in the 2000s. There was the two that came out in.
I didn't like it as much.
Okay, the one with Marcy from Married with Children. Those are the ones I'm very familiar with.
I think it was the original one. I can't remember who all was in it, but I just can't remember the names of the actors. I'm just terrible with names. I see their face, but I can't remember their names. And so I'd have to sit down and write them down. But yeah, the Alien movies are all good. I loved, and then I loved a lot of werewolf movies, like what was the name? The one with Hugh Jackman, and he was Van Helsing.
Oh yeah, the Van Helsing film.
Yeah, is that what it was called? Van Helsing? I couldn't remember, but that's a good one. And also, the woman that was in that one was in vampire movies. There was like 3 of them.
David Tennant and Anton Yelchin. Okay.
So there's, just quite a. Oh, American Werewolf in London. That's a good movie too. Didn't we do that one?
Not yet.
Oh, okay. I've seen it a lot, though. It's really good.
We
could also do Rocky Horror Picture Show. And I can dress up as Janet Weiss. I'll dress up as Janet Weiss. That was a good movie, though. Not really horror, but it was really good. I loved it. It's a good cult classic.
Okay, Bone. This is a great movie if you like werewolf films. I recommend Dog Soldiers for anybody that likes good werewolf prosthetic effects. Not a lot of CGI. Fantastic. And in Van Helsing, you have the lovely Kate Beckinsale, who she redefines what a woman in tight leather should look like. Sorry.
Yeah, she's very beautiful. And when I found out that she was married, her first husband was the guy that played the leader of the werewolves, the lycanthropes or whatever.
She got in that role,
and they had a daughter together.
Yep, because she wanted him to make some money, and she was going out or freshly married to the director of Underworld at the time. She said,
"Underworld, that's the series. That's it. Yeah, that's a good series too."
That's
really... Scott Bakman. Is that what his name is? That played the young guy that she fell in love with.
Yeah, Scott Beckman.
Yeah,
Scott No,
something like that. As I said, I'm terrible with names.
It's all right. I'm getting there myself, but that's long COVID.
I've always been this way. I'm just not real smart.
Scott Speedman.
Scott Speedman. Yeah, he was really good. I really liked him in these movies.
He's in another film called Dark Blue, which I sent you the link to that a while back. But we'll have to watch that because that's one of my other dirty, like absolutely gritty Kurt Russell films that you watch that and you just you're sad at the end of it, but it's a great movie.
But so like movies like The Abyss, to me that was right up my alley, sci-fi horror type of thing. So those are some of my favorite types of movies, that type of thing, or anything with like good movies with vampires. I just love
Mage. God damn it, Mage is so funny. Kate Beckinsale and Van Helsing, who can be slammed up and down against a castle wall without a scratch, but she dies after being gently lumped into a chase lounge. She ran out of hit points, dude. There was no cleric on that adventure. She
didn't want to get bruised up because she was so attractive.
She got beat up in that movie badly, and the way she went out was so pathetic. I hate to say that. I like her as an actress. She seems like another Hollywood floozy, whatever, but she seems like a sweet girl that you don't want to get to know too well. She's on that crazy hot scale kind of high. And like, oh my God, the way she died, the way that movie ended.
Hugh Jackman, though, I thought Hugh Jackman was so sexy for some reason in that movie. Van Helsing.
Hugh Jackman.
I've seen him in other things, and he was okay in it. You know what I mean? He was nice looking as Wolverine, but I couldn't picture him as Wolverine. I had a hard time because Wolverine is a short, stocky man, and Hugh Jackman is not. So I just couldn't really get into him. I got into it. I thought he did a good job considering. He didn't look anything like Wolverine to me, but he did good at acting his character. So to me, I gave him kudos for that. Just like watching The Witcher. Okay. It took me 3 episodes to accept Superman as The Witcher, but he did such a good job at playing Geralt. So, I gave him the benefit of the doubt and struggled through it until I could see him as him. Yeah. So, because, just like I'm as bad as you at some things about accepting certain things in a movie or accepting a person as that character. And I'm trying really hard to look past that and, try to fit the character and see if I could see him as that and blank, clear the other ones out so I can accept the new person. And it's not always easy, especially if you're addicted to that character. You know what I mean?
There's somebody at Universal Productions, Janet, that I want to hang out with, and I want to do lines of cocaine with, and just listen to them talk about shit. And let me explain this to you. Universal has been begging us fans for decades to accept their idea of a monster universe multiverse. Okay, they want that. And Van Helsing was supposed to be a serious prequel to Bram Stoker's Dracula, which was a fantastic Dracula, 1992 version. But Universal has been begging us to just let us do monster movies. We want to do monster movies. And there's a guy at Universal that keeps like bringing this up, and he shares his yayo to everybody. He's like, come on, here, have a bump, have a bump, have a bump. And I want to be there. I want to listen in just to how persuasive this guy is to have them spend $60 million on a flop of a movie to make $30 million back at the box office, $15 million from DVD and digital sales. And I just got to hear all this shit. If I have to destroy my body for the 6 hours of comedy gold that I'll regurgitate throughout Monday shows like this, because that would be great. I would love to do that, have that opportunity. Damn it. But this, the Universal, God bless you. You guys keep making monster bombs, okay? That's all it is. Like there was the I, Frankenstein with the dad guy from Thank You for Smoking. Like how did they think that was going to be a good movie? How?
Well, what movie was it where the guy that played in the Lord of the Rings? Okay, I'm trying to. I can't remember what his name was in the movie, but he was a swordsman and he was human, and he was also played Frankenstein.
Viggo Mortensen.
Yeah, I think that's his name. He played Frankenstein in the series, and it was really good. I thought he did a really good job playing Frankenstein. And I can't remember the name of it, but, you know, I just wish I could remember more of this kind of stuff. But because I don't write it down, you know, if I write it down, I have a notebook and I look at it, I instantly remember what I was thinking about when I wrote it down. So I'm just really bad about that, you know, because I have a phone now instead of a notebook. And I forget to put everything in it. So it sucks. But, you know, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to go through it. I'm going to try to find everything. I did that. I have a black tote that's in my closet over here filled with DVDs. And I've already filled it up with all the movies that I said I would like to review. And I have others out there too. But, you know, I picked my favorite ones, you know, like, we already done most of them as Tombstone, and then there's Great Raid, and then Galaxy Quest, and Wild Hogs. You know, I've picked bunches of movies that I just absolutely love, that made me laugh or made me cry. You know, and you know, it's a huge group of genres. It's because I didn't want to pick just the same stuff over and over. My very favorite stuff, which is almost all horror or horror sci-fi, that type of thing. So, yeah, but that's what I'm really into. Those are my very favorite topics for movies.
For Mage, he asks me if I can do a Dutch accent. We'll cast you as Van Helsing. Tell you what, Mage, we'll have to get Pickle Vic to come hang out with me. We could always have Pickle Vic play Van Helsing. I mean, we'll have to do some CGI to bulk him up a bit, but they made the guy for Captain America look skinny for the first half of that movie, so it's possible. But
Chris Evans, he was hot in the Fantastic Four.
There was a better movie called Street Kings that nobody ever watches or talks about. That's a Keanu Reeves underrated cult classic. And whenever we do Cop Month, I guess I'll have to have a Cop Month to where we have cop movies that aren't discussed a lot, because I think we can milk 4 or 5 hours out of Dark Blue and 3 hours out of even Street Kings with Forrest Whitaker, Keanu Reeves, and the guy that played Captain America, Chris Evans. I think that would be a fantastic idea, because there are some really good crime movies that we got to watch. We'll have Lethal Weapon 1 in there, guys. Don't worry.
I, Frankenstein. I think that was it.
I, Frankenstein?
Mm-hmm. It was a series or whatever, and it had that Vertigo actor in it. I think, if that was him. And then the guy that played the original Punisher, I think it was for a movie. That blonde guy, no, the other blonde guy. It was I can't remember his name. Shit, never mind. I'm gonna stop talking about stuff I can't bring up.
This is Aaron Hart, the star of I, Frankenstein.
Oh, okay. That wasn't the same one then.
No, that he looks like
that was good too. Yeah. But there's just so many of them. They all start jumbling in my head together. to pick just one of them out. It's when one of you guys say something or you say something, Bruce, and then the other things pop in my head. And then
Thomas Jane.
Thomas Jane, he was in one, but I can't. He was Thomas Jane was the Punisher, right?
Yeah, 2004 Punisher was him.
Okay. Then I thought it was the same guy, but I guess it isn't. Thomas Jane was in The Expanse, right?
Yes.
And he played the cop. Okay. So, see, I can separate him out of stuff, but I guess I was thinking that was him in a vampire or a Frankenstein movie character.
Then you have the late and great Ray Stevenson that played Punisher in Punisher Warzone, which the character that he did was right. I just hated that movie. I loved his character in that film, but I really despise that entire script. I'm sorry. See, I think Viggo Mortensen could be their cousin.
Yeah, they do look a lot alike. So I could see why people might, get them mixed up.
Elizabeth Shue was naked and Thomas Jane was retarded. Good stuff.
Yeah, The Expanse was a good series.
Mm-hmm. The first 3 seasons is fantastic. The 6th season I felt didn't stick. It pulled a Universal. Thomas Jane was in a movie that I really wanted to watch for like 10 or 15 years called Mutant Chronicles, because it was a war game called Warzone, and then it became an RPG and got into a lot of crap because it looked like a lot like Warhammer, and Games Workshop took them to court, screwed them over. But Mutant Chronicles was a lot of fun, and the movie is actually kind of watchable. Aaron Eckhart was in the core, and that's a fairly watchable popcorn film. Then Justin says this, and I'm debating this. Thomas Jane would be perfect if they rebooted Highlander. It's 18 years after Punisher 04, and I think he could do it, because he does look like Lambert quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. But to me, they don't always have to look just like the other person. They just have to have the character they're portraying down. Whether they look just like the actor that played it before, that to me doesn't really bother me. It's just whether they're believable.
So you're not into watching the Queen Latifah the Queen Latifah series, The Equalizer? You're not gonna watch it because she doesn't do a good Equalizer.
Well, yeah, more than likely, no. If I saw 10 or 15 minutes of it and I thought it was terrible, I just won't watch it.
She whenever she runs in that movie, they have to edit those parts out, kind of like whenever I run on camera, I have to edit those parts out.
I'm not gonna say. I was gonna say something, but I'm not gonna do it. I can't be that mean.
Give me my breathalyzer, you kids! Damn it!
Because if the camera's going like this because she's running,
I mean,
maybe they have to edit it out. Oh, it's terrible. I shouldn't do that. It's really bad. No, I haven't seen Cocaine Bear. I know that Connell and some other people have seen it like 50 times probably, but I haven't seen it.
One of our associates, well, he's not, I don't know if you know him or not, the T-shirted historian. He's got a great channel. He's got a good vibe. He's a good guy. North Texas guy. He put a video out shortly after Ray Stevenson's passing, and you could just hear him just falling apart in the background. And he's like, this sucks, because like I love Ray Stevenson, and I got that. I watched a lot of Ray Stevenson stuff. He played he played really good parts throughout all of his career. And damn it, that just sucks. But sorry, watching this here. How amazing Queen Latifah is. Hard pass. That's everything right there. In 3 movies. There's 3 movies with him in it. The 3rd one is out or coming out this weekend. I'm not certain.
But like when Laura Croft came out, and it had Oh, can't remember her name. She was married to Brad Pitt for a little bit.
Talking about Angelina Jolie.
Yeah, Angelina Jolie. And then it came out again with another actress. Was it as good without Angelina? I mean, I didn't see the second one.
I didn't see the non-Angelina one. Now, the girl that played Laura Croft was all on social media, and she looked okay doing her weapon drills of loading and unloading. So, I mean, she got to do the thing. You know, she was understanding what it was like to be somebody that had that mentality. So she actually did the drills to load and reload magazines, you know, and she did that. I don't know if the movie was good. I've not heard anything say it was good.
Well, I'm trying to remember what his name was. The actor that played the Equalizer, Denzel Washington, right? Someone in my chat said something about Queen is Denzel Washington. He just dressed up with a lot of makeup on. So did they make him? He had a sex change when they made the new series. Is that what it's supposed to be?
I have no idea.
See, I don't know. I haven't watched the series with Queen Latifah in it. So, but I guess they could do that if that's what they think people want, you know, but it just seems like they make stuff that they know that nobody wants. I mean, like when they came out with The Boys, I absolutely loved it. I thought it was great. And it was gruesome, had a lot of gruesome stuff in it, but that's what I liked about it. I liked that it seemed to follow the comic pretty good, the comic that hates superheroes. The superheroes are assholes. So I thought it was really good, but you know, some people said it wasn't good at all. So I don't know. Everybody's got to like something, and some people has to hate something too.
No, I just went on the web and looking for just a stream of the old Equalizer series, and I'm not seeing it. So it really stinks. I like Edward Woodward. He was a very good actor. And hell, William Zabka, the guy that played Johnny from Karate Kid and Cobra Kai,
yeah,
he's in that show. Damn it.
Is Cobra Kai done?
No, they've got another season.
Okay, because I hadn't seen the newest season yet, so I was just wondering if they're going to make one or not.
Yeah, the movie Fallen is really good. It's not the greatest film. I think the ending didn't stick too well, but I thought it was a good film. It had good characters.
And there was another one with I can't remember the name of the actor right this second, where he's it's from a video game, and they hook him up to a machine to fight in the future or in the past or something. I can't remember the name of it. I'll have to look that one up too. That's another one that I wouldn't mind doing a review.
I've got people here. We haven't asked for anybody's ratings for this movie yet.
Oh, that's right.
If you guys want to give us a rating for what you think of Tremors, while we wax nostalgic about other stuff, sorry about that. The Tremors movie is a great film. You know what I rated, but I want to know what you guys think of the movie Tremors, because I want to read that. I think that'd be fantastic. Justin, is this your score and for what? Sorry.
Is it 4 stars or 4 out of 10?
Okay, he clarified. Sorry, 4 out of 5.
Oh, that's not too bad. That's pretty good.
That's really good, actually. 7.5. 3.5 stars. Not high art, but entertaining and watchable. Our friend Bone. 8 out of 10 graboids.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's what I give it a solid 8 stars or whatever out of 10. Because it is really considered a B-rate, the way it was done. It was like an old-timey monster movie to me. At least that's how the trailer, everything about it came across to me that way. So that's why I thought it was really good. And really, I didn't really find that much wrong with it. You know what I mean? Technical wise, except for the little bit of editing. Besides that, I thought it was really good, considering they had such a small budget.
Justin says 7.5 on Richter scale. 8 out of 10 physical monsters. I would like to graboids on some things. Nice. Janet, what is your rating for the movie Tremors?
I said 8 out of 10 stars.
Fantastic.
Definitely.
80 plain jogs out of 10. The chemistry between the actors was great. It was so great. Bacon and Ward were amazing. The woman is tough, capable, sexy, intelligent, feminine, without being obnoxious girl boss. God. Boosh.
Yeah, I didn't see anything woke in this movie. That's one thing I was trying to look for. I didn't see anything.
Awesome one, and I agree. I'm rating this movie a 90% out of 100. And the reason why
I was almost that close.
Well, no, I'm going to go there just for the fact that I'm not going to. This isn't the last time I'm going to watch a movie. I'm going to watch this movie a lot more times than this. And there's the main reason why, and I understand that, Justin. I rate mine on percentile scale because I love percentiles. I think you guys are going to know that once everything releases. But percentiles are life, and I think that this movie is 90% for the fact that they picked a great location to do the production of the movie. They did really good on the set design. The few times where they're not doing things in actual camera on location, they've got it rigged up to where it's an isolated shot. You see the gag or the special effect in motion. That is so much of this movie is crafted with the end result in mind in every shot. And this movie, Kronos, was 1990 was when this was released. 90% fits so well with this. I think this is nearly the perfect popcorn film. Not quite perfect. 98% still my top movie of all time. And that would be Big Trouble in Little China for a few reasons. But this movie was made on a budget of $11 million. And to give you an idea, just 1 year later, and during production at the same time, I might add, is Terminator 2 with a $102 million production budget, which was the highest for its time. This movie, for the 10th of the budget that it has, gives you almost as much excitement and utter just jaw-dropping, panty-dropping enjoyment throughout the entire film. They were right when they reviewed this movie. They didn't know, is it a comedy? Is it horror? I don't know what this movie is. And then after a few watchings of this movie, you don't really have those same questions. It is comedy. It is horror. It is an action film. You've got all of that wrapped up into this taut movie. And yeah, only 10 years prior, $20 million, we got Raiders of the Lost Ark. This is a fantastic movie. And this is what, if any of you go into this indie movie making scene and you have a chance to be part of a movie, go into it every day with a clear head and be optimistic. Try to go in there with the same energy that these guys wanted to have when they got on set.
Definitely.
This movie here is an absolute showstopper in so many ways. And for the little engine that could, it sure as hell got over that hill. And it's amazing to think that it made back 4 times its box office result. You got 3 times box office result for a total of like $64 million in the first 3.5 years. Very few movies get that. This movie is literally the little engine that goes. This is the Moz and the Gaunt of rifles for movies. Okay, this movie doesn't look like much. It's got very, very few quote unquote moving parts, but it is so reliable. And you could put this on a TV for a bunch of kids, and they would get it. You could put this on.
Well, the thing is, this movie is rare when it comes to that, because it's one of those movies that actually gets better the more you watch it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It still lasts through from when it was made till today. Just like you said, if you were to get a bunch of 11 to 13-year-old boys at a party or whatever, and you put this movie in at an overnight sleepover, they'd all watch it. And they would all like it. They would all think it's good. They think it's entertaining. I think they would probably want to act out one of the characters after they've seen it. I just think it's still a movie that you could put in and let your kids watch, and they would like it.
When I was 23, when I was 23 in 1998, we used to have friends. I used to have friends named Benny and Kim, and they had a house in Decatur, and they would get all the gamers together. Not all of them, but about 8 of us would gather there, and we would watch movies and then play an RPG. And we had a friend that had watched this movie in the 8 years of its release so much that he completely played Bert's part, did the Michael Gross actor the entire way through the movie with every line on point. And then he looked at us like we were missing something. But he got this movie from the start. Like the rest of us were like, I haven't seen this movie enough to get that. But he could quote the lines of the movie. He was fun to watch movies with because that was his thing. And it was a great, great film to do that with. I don't know if you guys do this with your friends, but if you ever watch a movie, did you have somebody in your group that they're like, I'm tuning the lines for this guy this whole film? That's what this guy would do. And yeah, you got a guy screen talking, but he's saying the exact lines in the best way he can to emulate that character. And it was so fun to be in a room with that type of energy just as fans. And if you like movies, or if you like TV shows, or if you like comics, you kind of want to be around people that are good like that, because that's a good, healthy energy to have. I think this movie, could it be made again today? No.
No, not definitely. It would be very expensive for them to build the sets the way that they built them back then to do the same type of movie.
You would have some girl bosses that would be Earl's character, and they wouldn't even do septic tanks. You just well, I'm a woman, I just fart the smell away, I don't poop, and they would try to rationalize that throughout the movie, like natural things like hunger.
Well, they would probably role swap everyone. Earl would be a woman, the 2 women would be the ones fixing everything, and then the young geeky nerd would show up from the college that would, you know what I mean? Just like they did Ghostbusters and ruined it. That's what they would do to this movie. They would try to gender swap everyone, and it just would be lame. It would be stupid. Even if they had the greatest underground monster you could think of, the story would be just ridiculous and stupid. They would ruin it.
And it's kind of funny, 2 years before, we had the spectacle that was Raiders of the Lost Ark, half the money 10 years later, and we get this movie, which isn't bad. It really works well within its boundaries, but this does not have a quarter of the spectacle that in breadth that Raiders of the Lost Ark has. This movie just this movie rocked, but like that right there should tell you how much our value got dropped from 1980 to 1990. And then Six Nations says, I envy how clean the rec room was until that bastard graboid ruined it. Who keeps an immaculate rec room? I got coffee cans of crap and odds and ends all over the place. Dude, my dad's basement, I know what you're saying, man. My dad's basement is a fire hazard. It is a multiple hazard, because you've got 2 layouts of train sets, one HO that's in around the room and the furnace room. That's a 12 by 14 setup. And then you got my dad's Lionel, his O scale gauge setup, which is another 8 by, it's a L shape 8 by 4 by 8. So it goes around the room. Basically, it just has like another half table added onto it. But then you've got all the stuff he's got, the weights, all the cabling he's got. Just if somebody ever had to run out quickly of the basement, somebody would die. They would not make it.
When he ran over to get the big gun in the glass case, down in there, I was expecting, it to be like a cannon going off or something, but it was a little smaller of a weapon than I thought it was going to be. But it was exciting to see him open that glass case and pull that big old gun out and put those giant shells in. That was exciting. But what was funny was when they were leaving and he was talking about, you know, all the food and ammo and all the work that they went through to have it. And it has to be from underground. That was a really good line from him. Yeah. For this part of the movie, because every prepper thinks they're prepped for everything, you know, like me. I'm like, I got water, I got a generator, I got solar panels, I got blah blah blah. You know, I got a 5-mile walkie-talkie. You think you got it all, but you don't, because there's always going to be something you don't have that you need at the time when you need it. That's what's going to happen, because you can't be prepared for everything. And I like that. I like that they brought that out in this movie with two people that were kick-ass preppers that you thought were ready for anything to happen.
And they weren't ready for graboids. They weren't,
because they didn't know anything could ever come from underground to get them. That's like when he's on the walkie, the walkie-talkie, not the walkie-talkies, but the what was that? The radio, talking to them on the other side. Radio. Yeah, the ham radio. And when they're talking on that, and he's like, what are you talking about? You know, because he's looking out the window and they're like, we don't see anything. And he's like, it's underground. So I just thought that was a really good scene. Them getting to use all those weapons, the husband and wife side by side, trying to kick ass, you know, and they ended up killing one. So they knew that they got, you know, it took a lot of ammo and a lot of work, you know, to get it, but they were able to.
There's a lot of creature there. Did you see that thing fly out the side of the cliff?
Yeah,
that thing was huge. That was at least, that looked at least
one. Each one they killed was a little bigger than the one before it. You know what I mean? It's like they slowly, and Stumpy was the smartest one, because that one, the one that was learned that, you know, this hurts and I don't want this to happen. So and it's not leaving, you know, just like you said, it's trying to trap us, make us think it's gone when it's not, that kind of thing. So you know, Kevin Bacon his character ended up being a little smarter than we thought he would be, because he seemed like the, you know, the laid back dum-dum, you know, hillbilly boy, but he ended up being a lot smarter because of his actions. So, you know, that was great. I just thought it was really good. I thought they did a really, really phenomenal job on a lot of the things that they did for this movie. I'm glad we watched it.
This is a fantastic.
I couldn't hear you.
This again, you know, I mean, I'm gushing about the movie, but this is one of the few films that you watch with your friends and you're just amazed that how could they do this with the budget they had. And I kind of wonder about that. This is a great expose of what you can do with a dedicated script with people that are specialists in the field.
Mm-hmm.
And you see the care they took in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I'll show you guys. I just.
You gonna share the link that you share with me with everybody in the chat?
Nope. I'm going to share something else. This is the ending of the film, quote unquote, fair use, guys. Look at the size of that thing. I love that. That's. Can you fly, sucker? Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, that was really good.
And that hole that's right underneath him, I would be happy that thing didn't collapse, but you know, that's just me.
But see, he also learned from what happened when it hit the concrete blocks. See, yeah. And he was thinking, okay, it worked for that one, maybe it'll work for this one. Let's see if it'll work. And he stood there, he stood his ground, trying to make sure he was going to come, because the creatures underground couldn't see that there was an ending. You know what I mean? So I think it was great. I think it was a really good ending for this movie.
No.
Yeah, I loved him. I loved him as Quicksilver.
Yeah.
That character.
I don't know if you guys have ever seen the movie Quicksilver, but this is a old bike movie from 1984.
I don't think I've seen that one. Is it Kevin Bacon?
It's Kevin Bacon.
Oh, then no, yeah, I haven't seen it.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll watch that one of these times. That's an older Kevin Bacon film. Good Kevin Bacon film. Mm-hmm. If you like Kevin Bacon, this is more Kevin Bacon. I know there's fans out there like, I gotta have more Kevin Bacon. I'm worried about Kevin Bacon. He's getting in that age where, you know, you're going to the doctor monthly. That age. But yeah.
Did he have kids? Him and his wife? Kira Sedgwick? Is that what you said her name was?
Yeah, Kira Sedgwick has. I think they've got kids because he had a baby at the start of this movie, or during the beginning of this movie. Like he was worried about it, and the movie didn't perform worth a shit at the theaters. It only did like 14 million, so it made its budget back. It just wasn't a super hit that it was supposed to be. They thought, and then like as time went on, the money was coming in. I don't know if he made good money on the DVD and VHS sales.
He was in Friday the 13th. Sometime around the same time.
Nope, that was 10 years before. That was 1980 or 81.
I was gonna say, I don't know for sure, but he just looked like he was around the same age.
He didn't age until he hit Stir of Echoes. When he was in Stir of Echoes, that was when I first noticed that Kevin Bacon was no longer the baby-faced man that he had been.
When he played the invisible guy, that's when I realized, wow, he's gotten a lot older. I don't remember the name of the movie, but he was invisible.
Yeah, and he killed Elizabeth Shue in that movie.
Oh yeah, that's what somebody made a comment about. Okay, but yeah, that's who. That's when I realized, wow, he's gotten older.
Yeah, I like Kevin Bacon. That movie is not one of his best. I like that character in that movie. I understand the drive of that character, but I don't think becoming invisible will turn you into a serial rapist like that movie kind of portrays. And that was probably one of the worst films he'd been in. That actually might be the low point for his entire career. But do you have anything further that you would like to say about this?
No, not really. Just that thank you guys for coming and enjoying this movie with us. I think it was great. And if you guys want to watch next week when we watch this movie Constantine, come and join us in Discord. It was a lot of fun to sit around and watch a movie and talk about it and stuff a little bit to get ready for the review.
We had a crew of like 8 people, I think, at one point.
Yeah, it was pretty good this last time. It was a lot of people there. It was fun.
All right. Thank you. And we will see you next week. Until then, the balcony is closed. Good night, guys.
Good night.